Hey guys, this is Captain Rule reporting for duty, giving you my weekly comic books review for the week of May 17th, 2023. All right, everybody, welcome to the channel. I do say we have some new people to the channel, so thank you for joining. You know, we always appreciate more support, and the more support we get, the more happy we get. We're building this community. Just so you know, my goal with this is to give you my thoughts on comic books, and yours can be different, and that's okay. And, you know, I think that's one of the things we need to learn, that we can all have disagreements, but still enjoy the hobby. So I want to take a moment to say thank you to these people that have joined the channel and subscribed. Robot Trucker, Mikey 24/7, Joe Pierre. Those are all new ones that have just recently joined within the last few days. Thank you for taking the time to hit that subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it. With that said, let's jump in. For those of you who are new, you're going to hear my notes. That's the writing on my notes that I use because I have to have notes. You're going to hear some clicks too. What I do is I review these comic books on a scale of 1 through 10 and give them my score. I also give you information based on the League of Comics Geeks and what their reviews were, and an estimation of how well that book is possibly selling based on the numbers there. And so we can see some comparative differences, or see if I am in line with the rest of these people. Let's see here. I usually do the top 3, the bottom 3, in the middle in no particular order. Today, I think we're going to hit the bottom 3. So the first one, my number 3 at the bottom, was Black Adam, number 11 out of 12 issues. Miniseries, I gave it a 7. League of Comics Geeks said 16 out of 20 liked it with a 3.7 average rating, so it's not too far off from what I had. This is written by Christopher Priest, which I expected more from this series. So a little too wordy, a little too slow, but he is known to do that a little bit. But usually I tend to like what he's doing more than I do this one. But it is what it is. Eddie Barrows is the penciler on this. It says everybody hates Theo. Black Adam's actions turn everyone against him, including his own people and even Bolt. As the entire Middle East is brought to the brink of war, and the kind of new gods usher in a new kingdom on Earth, whether we like it or not. 16 out of 20 liked it with 3.7 average rating, as I said before, which so it lines up pretty well with mine. My thoughts in general on this book, let me get my notes here, was that it was solid art, decent action in this issue, still a little dialogue heavy, but it was better than last issue that we had of the series. So anyway, that's my thoughts on Black Adam issue number 11 out of 12. Let's jump to the next one, shall we? My next issue I want to discuss, number 2 on the bottom, was Hulk Annual number 1. Okay, I gave it a 6.99. Now, before you bring out the pitchforks and everything else, please take a moment, hear me out. I'm getting to my notes on that one, because there is a discrepancy clearly with the score that I gave it, as opposed to what's on a League of Comics Geeks. Yeah, they must have felt a little different than me. So anyway, on League of Comics Geeks, 39 out of 51 liked it. Still not really high, though. That's a 3.4, which gives it a 77. A little higher than what I gave it. It says Hulk vs. Giganto. Documentary crew is on the hunt for a monster at the heart of a gamma radiation leak. And I will say, I like the perspective that this issue is written, where you're getting it from like a film crew. But they get much more than they bargained for when they end up on Hulk's angry side. Writer Philip Kennedy Johnson, writer David Propose. Sorry if I butcher your name. Everybody knows I do butcher names. If you're not familiar with this channel, I butcher them all. There's no mean intent there. Artist Travel Foreman, as well as Kaio Magedo. I apologize, I butchered those. So anyway, I thought this was it is a lead-in issue to try to get you to want to get into the Hulk series. So you're not really missing anything if you don't read it. You'll still be okay with issue number 1 of the Hulk series. But my opinion is the art really was not very good in this issue, which is a shame, because I like the premise of it from the camera point of view in a lot of spots. I did think there was really good artwork in that respect. It's just the type of drawings, so the perspective and everything, wonderful, but the art itself otherwise is not. The story was okay, but really wasn't anything special, not to spend the kind of dollars that you would on an annual. Once again, I gave it a 6.99. Now off to the bottom of the barrel, the squeakers, the ones that really do not belong to be continuing to be made. Let's be honest, they're just not very good. Now, the reason I use that effect is two reasons. One, this book should be shot. Number two, it is a major topic of this issue because my number one of the bad is Batgirls number 18, where I gave it a 6 out of 10. 28 out of 38 readers liked it with only a 3.1 average rating from the League of Comics Geeks, which is a little higher than what I gave it, but still showing not very good. And this is the second part from the From Hell's Heart series. The Saints are back. Well, one of them is, and he's out for revenge on the Batgirls by putting Mr. D and all of her other friends in danger. Turns out they have a history of, you ready for long before the Saints, they've had this history, and no one holds a grudge longer than a man scorned. I don't know about that. If you ever talk to a woman scorned, I think they hold grudges a little bit more. Anyway, the writer is Becky Cloonan, writer Michael Conrad, artist Robbie Rodriguez. Wow, my thoughts. Well, the art is not good. It hasn't been good most of this series. This is just another one that's average in that regard. But here we go, the common problem with this, and this is a series that is wrapping up. It's been canceled already. It's just finishing it up. But the writer takes another cheap shot. Yes, another cheap shot at people. And you ready? This last time they had to make sure to take a cheap shot at anybody believing in the Second Amendment holding guns. But this one is to people, and this one I think is pretty egregious. Hopes and prayers. Yeah, because giving people your hopes and prayers is now a terrible thing in the eyes of some of these people. I got a newsflash for you, and if you don't like my view on this, I apologize already, but I'm gonna say it anyway, and maybe I can positively influence you. But here's the thing, even if you don't believe, I respect your views, okay? Hear me there. But I would also hope that you'd respect mine, not saying I'm bat crap crazy, and if you do, oh well, you can think the way you want. But prayer is power. There is a lot of prayer in my power. Power and prayer, not prayer and my power. A lot of power in prayer. And people go, well, how do you know you believe? How do you have that? I can tell you, I look at my daughter and I believe. And I have a whole story behind that, as well as many other things that, in my eyes, prove that it exists. But anyway, why do we have to take a shot at people that believe in hopes and prayers? People that wish you well, wish people well, and we're going to use that as a negative against them just because we have a different belief in certain things. And I think that's the wickedness of all men. We all have wickedness in us, and we need to be looking at something better. So as you see in this panel here, terrible. Once again, this is a key issue. I think comics are okay to go political, especially and most likely if they paint both sides and allow the reader to form a valued opinion of their own. Whereas writers like this that are poor writers, they write very one-sided and try to force an opinion on you and make you out to be an idiot or gaslight you or whatever if you have a disagreement with their views. There lies a problem. I've always been a big proponent on you probably should keep your political views and things to yourself if you're trying to sell your product so you don't alienate half your audience. Though if you choose to, be wary of the consequences. Elon Musk did that just recently, where he was asked his thoughts and he said, you know what, I'm going to say what I want because I don't care. And he can get away with it because he's loaded with money and that's his choice. He knows and understands the consequences of it. The problem is, though, with that I have is all the shareholders of his stuff, well, they're going to eat the consequences as well. So you need to be informed. Once again, I'm not trying to say who to say what or whatever. Free speech is a great thing, don't get me wrong. I'm glad that she's free to be able to say and make fun of people and say hopes and prayers, because now I know her side and how crazy it is, in my opinion, which you could disagree with me or Becky, and that's okay. As I said, didn't get a great score, and I'm glad to be seeing this series go because I think she's doing a great disjustice to these characters, these great characters. So Batgirls number 18 is continuing to go down the tube swinging. Now it's time to move to the top, but before we do move to the top, I want to take a moment to say thank you to these people you see right here. They've been subscribed to the channel. They support the channel as well through Patreon and Subscribe Star. So in all cases, you could consider this channel sponsored by these people, because otherwise I collect no revenue from YouTube. I don't monetize this. I want to make sure everyone knows I'm free and clear to my own thoughts, especially if I review products and things like that. But these people here, they continue to support the channel, and I know some of them greatly disagree with me on some of my viewpoints too, and that makes that really awesome. And that's one of the things I love about this community. Once again, we can disagree on key topics, but still enjoy things together. All right, so let's do my top now. We said my top at my top. Yeah, I'm gonna have a little fun with that. My number 3, yes, number 3 at the top is World's Finest number 15, where I gave a 7.8. Yeah. I thought it was solid art, good action to story and story building there. I really do. But one thing is the Batmobile really needs to work on its brakes. 195 out of 202 liked it in the League of Comics Geeks with a 4.4 average rating, giving it a total score of 97. If you haven't been checking out this series, you strongly should. Mark Waid has been knocking it out of the park, and I'm not a fan of Mark Waid in any way whatsoever. That tells you how strong I feel about this series. Artist Dan Mora did a good job as well. The coloring, is by good old Bond villain. What a name, Bond villain. Not caring for that person, but otherwise, really be honest, two people I don't like there. Really don't care for their views and how they say things, and I'm praising this issue. I think that should say I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. This is continuing on chapter 3 of the Metamorpho story, and I think you're going to really dig it. If you haven't been checking this out, you really are missing something. You should definitely give it a look, especially if you like Metamorpho things and some oddity characters like that. It's pretty cool. Check it out. Now for my number 2. Now I tell you, we are splitting hairs here between number 2 and number 1. It was close, and I gave my number 2 to The Flash issue 799. You know what that means. An issue 800 is probably going to be huge, another expensive issue, but it is what it is. I gave it a 7.9. Get the humor there. It's issue 799, and I gave it a 7.9. Yeah. Let's. Oh, come on now. It was a fun joke. Well, anyway, League of Comics Geeks gave 118 out of 123 liked it. 118 out of 123, that's pretty solid. A lot of readers still reading this title. 4 average rating, total score of 96. Uncovering the truth about what happened to their third child, Wally and team must infiltrate the dangerous compound known as the Nest in hopes of saving their newborn while battling the formidable Granny Goodness. Yes, this issue is loaded with goodness, written by Jerry Adams, artist Tom Derenick. Sorry, another penciler Fernando Parzan. Once again, I butcher these names, but I really found this issue to be quite fun. Matter of fact, The Flash has been a fun ride. A little sad with the writer change, right? But even with that said, I'm interested to see what that writer could do on Green Lantern as well. Solid issue, in my opinion. A lot of fun. Mr. Terrific has a son. Yeah, I hope I didn't spoil it too much for you, but you find out in this issue, Mr. Terrific has a son. How awesome is that? This is a character that's getting a little bit more use in the DC universe, which is great because I think this character deserves more use. Really has a lot of possibility with this character. And this is a nice issue with a lot of adventure and action, and really a fun cast of characters. This group of characters work together really well. I am really enjoying this series, and if you haven't been reading it, please give it a chance. I don't think you'll be disappointed. All right, we have it. We've gotten to the number 1, the big bad, the one at the top, and you know what? It might be surprising, because I will tell you, it surprised me. I expected it to be pretty good, but it was better than I expected. So for my number 1, are you ready? This one I think deserves a lot of praise. It was quite good. Ready? Danny Ketch, Ghost Rider, issue number 1. I gave it a 7.91. 32 out of 35 liked it with a 3.9 average rating for a total score of 92 on League of Comics Geeks, which is a pretty darn solid score, especially for a character who's not as big and well known. Danny Ketch is back. Awesome. Flashback to a time when innocent blood was spilled, a spirit of vengeance was born, and Danny Ketch found himself transformed into Ghost Rider. A gang war is breaking out across New York City with Ghost Rider caught in the middle. But if it's just rival gangs killing each other, does Ghost Rider need to get involved? Remember, you have to spill innocent blood. Yeah, I know it's a little silly, right? Because he's not protecting everybody. I actually like that twist on the character with spilling innocent blood, and that's actually shown a little bit in this issue. I really like that. I think Howard Mackey did a really good job writing this issue. Daniel Piccolatto did a good job on the art. I was very, very impressed with this issue. I'm going to go to my notes here. I said, we're off to a good start. I agree. I think the story is definitely off to a good start. By the way, you also get another Ghost Rider in this issue. Good art, good characterization, good pacing, off to a strong start with an interesting villain. And part of the reason I think I'm so into this is they've been pushing Robbie Reyes on us a lot. And I know there's a lot of Robbie Reyes fans, and I don't actually have anything against that Ghost Rider. It's sort of nice offshoot that he does cars rather than motorcycles. But once again, we had the classic problem with Marvel is we have to make the new character, the minority character especially, outclass everybody because now he's like the best Ghost Rider ever, right? Well, what about these other Ghost Riders? Why do we always have to make the new character more powerful? Now, before you jump on me calling ist, phobe, and all those things, let me reiterate that one of the reasons I don't like that is when you're new, you're not as experienced, you're usually not as good. So, for example, Eric Masterson, when he became Thor, I absolutely loved it. And here's part of the reason why. Is because he had all the powers, but none of the skills and experience. And we had to see that character grow. But nowadays with these writers, they just push the character right to the top like their best thing ever, most powerful thing ever. And we lose that. We lose that whole element of them progressing because of poor writing. It's the only thing I can think of, but that's my thoughts. What are your thoughts? I want to know what's your number one before I hit the mid here. What is your number one? All right, everybody, we're going to be hitting the mid. The middle books, the books that didn't quite hit my top and didn't quite hit the bottom. Yes, the ones that are mid-tier. So let's jump right in. My first mid-tier book I want to talk about is The Titans #1. 244 out of 298 liked it. So I think an issue #1 sold really well with only a 3.6 average rating. Actually, it's pretty good. With a total score of 82. I gave it a 7.02, just slightly above average. I thought it was good art, and I thought it's off to a good start, believe it or not. Yeah. But I don't like the Flash getting killed. But let's be honest, I don't think they're killing him. They've already screwed up that character enough and did a lot of work to bring him back due to fan outrage, which should have been there because this character, well, he deserves better. So I don't think he's going to be gone long. So I give that a plus and a minus. Don't kill a character for the excitement, but on top of that, we know the game. We know they're not really dead. This is some trope they keep hitting again and again. So I don't think it's going to last, but I don't trust Tom Taylor either to write a good story. The Dark Crisis is over. The Justice League is no more. So now we've got a team of Titans that are really there that are going to replace the Justice League. Tom Taylor's the writer, artist Nicola Scott, and cover artist Annette Walk, which I apologize, I butchered that. So anyway, I'm not a big fan of Tom Taylor. If you are, let me know what you think he's done great. Maybe I'm being too hard on him, but I don't have a lot of faith in the ongoing longevity of this series being good. Strong start, but let's see if he can continue to keep it good. The next mid-tier book I gave was She-Hulk #13 with a 7.01 out of 10. 47 out of 50 liked it, though, with a 3.8 average rating. Total score 94 on League of Comics Geeks, which means they rated it probably a little higher than I did. Yes, they did. She-Hulk's new villain makes a big move that throws Jen for a loop. And her pal Patsy Walker's in this issue as well, also known as Hellcat. So if you want some Hellcat action, you got that there. You don't really get to see her in action. She's just going to be talking. But anyway, we're getting into this developing love triangle potentially with a villain. It's a little interesting, but I'm not a big fan of it. Rainbow Rowell's the writer, artist Joe Quinones, and Andreas Genolt. It is what it is. I think I'm not a fan of the art in this issue at all, to be honest with you. I don't care for the art. The story continues as we're pushing that love triangle here in her life. And cool little thing, though, is She-Hulk's career is really starting to take off, and boom, question is can she handle it all? Only time will tell. All right, to jump into the next book in our mid-carried category. Once it quite didn't hit the top and bottom was Captain America, Sentinel of Liberty, #12. I do have a discrepancy between their score of Legendary League of Comics Geeks as well as mine. I gave it a 7.03. They had 51 out of 52 liked it with a 3.9 average rating for a total of 99. This is Cold War Part 3. While Bucky Barnes and the White Wolf team up to strike at the heart of the Outer Circle conspiracy, Steve Rogers, Sam Wilson, and their allies are caught in the crossfire as heroes fight their way across the war-torn Alaskan tundra to rescue Ian Rogers. Black Widow attempts to stop Bucky's descent into villainy at any cost. Now, I will say right off the bat, I think it's maybe some of the lead up to this story is why I have a little bit more negativity towards it. The writers Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly, and artist Alana Rosa. I'm sorry, you have to look that up because I'm just gonna butcher it like nobody's business there. With that said, anyway, I don't think the art is good in this issue. I'm thinking the story is moving a little slow. The flashbacks are from Dimension Z, and I think that's where I don't like. I did not care for the whole Dimension Z storyline, so I think that taints my view on this and makes me biased. Did you read the Captain America storyline with when he went to Dimension Z for years, and the time wasn't the same over here, it wasn't as long, but he was like there for years. Did you like that? I don't care for that part of the storyline. I don't like him having a kid like that either, even though it's not technically really his kid, but he raised him, which I guess isn't so bad. It's like, I don't mind that so much. It's just, I don't know, there was something about that storyline I didn't care for. I can't even quite put my finger on it, but it carries on into this, and I like the group of characters in this issue. I do. I think they bounce well off of each other, so I didn't give it a bad score. I gave it a 7.03. All right, the next one in my mid-tier category, it might be a little divisive for some, and it's Bloodhound Daughter, Blade number 4. I gave it a 7.04. Here's the thing. 14 out of 15 liked it. So not a lot of people are picking up this book. 4 average rating on the League of Comics Geeks. And 94 total. So Blade stayed away from his daughter for years to keep her safe, but now the supernatural has come to his daughter's door and struck a blow at the person she loves most. Yeah, they kidnapped her mother. Yes, her mother's been kidnapped. Danny Lore is the writer of this, artist Karen S. Darbo. So here's my thoughts on this. We got a Deacon Frost clone, it appears to be here, or is he the real thing? Who knows? I thought the art is very mediocre. It seems to be this kind of young adult style they're going with, and it just doesn't work for me. But maybe that's the old man. Get off my lawn! Get off my lawn! Maybe that's that in me. Let me know. Is this cool art and I'm just the old fart? Or is it just not that good? And I hope in this series that they don't do more of the let's push down the hero to make the new hero also great. Let's not dilute a great character, Blade, that really, even though he has movies and everything else, he still has a lot of potential that has been untapped in this character, and I really want to see it. And I like the new character too, so let's not push one down at the expense of others. I gave it, once again, 7.04, so really it makes sense why it's mid-tier. Now, my next mid-tier issue, I tend to be in a disagreement with a lot of people on this, it appears, and that is Venom number 19, where I gave it a 7.06, whereas on League of Comics Geeks, 45 out of 52 liked it with a 3.7 average rating, a little higher continuously than what I've been giving it, with a total score of 87. True enlightenment. Battered, beaten, and brutalized across nearly all of space and time, Eddie Brock's grit, determination, and faith have wavered at times, but never broken. Here, he reaches true enlightenment, and your Venomaniacs will meet his most powerful form yet, is what it says. But really, we don't get Eddie Brock really here. This is his son, so it's a little misleading. Al Ewing is the writer. The artist is Rogue Antonio, whatever that is. I tend to think Al goes too long and tries too hard. But I will say this. I did enjoy this issue in this direction much more than I have probably the last half dozen of issues. So I think it's a better issue than that, but it's still mid-tier with a 7.06. In my views, what's your take on Venom? Have you been enjoying Venom? Am I not giving it enough praise? Are you like me and just think, it's okay? All right, my next pick, I'm going back. I'm going old school. I'm going to give my next mid-tier book, Superman issue number 4, with a 7.2. Yeah, I like a good Superman book. League of Comics Geeks had 207 out of 210 that liked it, with a 4.3 average rating for a total of 99. I think that's important to know because Superman's at issue 4, and it still looks like it's selling strong. The question now will be, since it's past the first hurdle of keeping the sales momentum from the first issue, the next thing is, can it continue after the first story arc? Can it continue that? And we're sort of, still in the major story arc, but in the smaller story arc within that, the sub-story with the parasite is concluded, and now we're moving to the next, and it seems to be holding. So I think Superman's got a good chance here, but Chapter 4 screams of the past, introducing the Kryptonite Claw. Superman is vulnerable to kryptonite. Yeah, but what happens when other dangerous superhumans are exposed to it? And I think that is pretty darn interesting, as well as him trying to deal with Lex Luthor. The writer of this issue was Joshua Williamson, artist Nick Dragotta. I'm not a big fan of the art style, but I am digging this. There's also Jamal Campbell doing artwork as well in this. I'm enjoying the book well enough to give it a 7.2, mid-tier, but it's definitely worth my pull list. All right, time for the last issue I have on this week's readings, because I can only read and have so many dollars to do so much, and it's the first issue, so it's probably sold pretty well. And that was Avengers Issue number 1 with a score of 7.4. Anyway, 208 out of 211 liked it on League of Comic Geeks with 4.4 average rating, total score 99, which means it's probably faring pretty well for the first issue, but first issues usually get a pretty good bump. Assembled Jed MacKay and Stormbreaker. I'm not going to read all that. Anyway, what we got in this issue here is we got Terminus is attacking, and we've got a new team of Avengers being assembled. Written by Jed MacKay, artist Carlos Villa. And here's my thoughts. It's a nice, it was pretty nice. Now we got Captain Marvel leading the team. Why? Because we got Captain Marvel movies, so we got to throw her up in the front. Well, you're going, well, wait a minute, they're just killing one soon. Yes, but they're doing that just to bring her back for the movie to get more attention. About guaranteed. My guess is, by the way, with the Miss Marvel killing thing, let's wait and see it out. But remember how in the television series, they changed her powers up a lot. I'm wondering, my guess, I could be wrong, call me back on this. My prediction is they're going to bring her back, and she's going to resemble more of that power set than what we've had in the comic books. We'll see. So anyway, back to this issue number 1, and it seems up that a good writing here was done because Carol's leading the team, but she brings up her Civil War mistake. Yeah, I thought that was nice because this is, Marvel, where women in Marvel could do no wrong, but it sort of seems like she has some regret there. There's decent art in this. I like the cast of characters. I'm sort of sad because here's something. I like her reasoning for picking Sam Wilson to be on the team. I do. To take somebody that's more regular on the team, not super, to help keep the team in a dose of humanity, if you will. But where I am worrying is we see the end of Steve Rogers' series. Steve Rogers isn't going to be in the Avengers then. Are they trying to push Steve Rogers out because of the movies and Sam Wilson? That's my guess, and I'm probably right about that. They want him to be the forefront Captain America because of the movies and the tie-ins, so they're doing that as well, which is a shame because I want more good Steve Rogers. But then again, if you're not going to write Steve Rogers well, you might as well not write him at all. Freeze him in ice, put him away for 5 years, 2 years, a decade, if you're going to treat him like crap, and pull him out when you're ready to write him well. Because it's really been hit and miss with Captain America, and a lot more miss than it has been with Steve Rogers' Captain America. So anyway, due to the movie, is that what's happening? I don't know. But I will say the series is off to a good start, a good balance of action, a good detailing reason of why she picked each person for the team, and a good balance for her as well. It's not a bad first issue. Let's see if Jed MacKay can continue this as well as the art and continue to make it a good book. Well, anyway, everybody, I went a little long today. This was a long one, so I hope you stuck through it with me. I do appreciate all of you. Thank you for your time. Let me know in the comments what you've been reading, what you don't want to read. I know a lot of people I gave up on Marvel and DC, but if you were to pick one book to try again, to get back into it, which book would it be? All right, everybody, thank you for your time. Until next time, you know what's coming. Keep